say they want it. Girls can't never say how. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Girls can't never say they want it. Girls can't never say how. Girls can't never say they need it. Girls can't never say nah. Oh nah. Give it to me like you need it, baby. Want you to hear me screaming, have it breathing. I don't need a reason, baby. I want it till you can't vibe. I can get it to you right, baby. I wanna be healing. I can be real good. We don't get these feelings. Hey, I need some love.
Hello, everybody, and thank you all for coming out to the Goddess Queen Tulsa show. It is Black History Month, guys. It is Black History Month. And what we are going to do is acknowledge, you know, the Black history that has come before us, that have paved ways, that have knocked down doors and barriers so we can exist in spaces that we are in now. When you talk about triumphs, when you talk about women, you know, women has have been fighting for rights since way back when. I want to say this: if you're a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you for returning. This is the Queen Tulsa Show. Queen is always live in the field. Queen Tulsa is a content personality that's broadcasted on YouTube, Instagram, and other social media. Please like, share, and subscribe to this independent channel for the people. Donations go to building this platform. Thanks for taking the time to watch. Remember to hit the like button, share, and subscribe. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and give Sarah Baartman her flowers. All right. How Sarah Baartman's hips went from a symbol of exploitation to a source of empowerment for Black women. In Black Effect, a track from Beyoncé and Jay-Z's 2018 collaborative album, Everything is Love, Beyoncé describes a quintessential Black female form. Stunt with your curls, your lips, Sarah Baartman hips. Gotta hop into my jeans like I hop into my whip. Yeah. The celebration of Sarah Baartman's features marks a departure from her historical image. Saartjie, Sarah Baartman, was an African woman who, in the early 1800s, was something of an international sensation of objectification. She was paraded around Europe where spectators jeered at her large buttocks. With celebrities like Beyonce recognizing Baartman's contributions to the ideal Black female body, and with the curvaceous posterous of Black women lauded on TV and celebrated on social media. I wanted to understand how this ideal is viewed by the very people it most directly affects, Black women. So I interviewed 30 Black women from various cities in South Africa and the mid-Atlantic US and asked them about Baartman. Would her image represent a reviled past or a canvas of resilience? Were they proud to bear a similar buttocks or ashamed to share a similar statue? Hips and history. Baartman, a Khoisan woman from South Africa, left her native land in the early 1800s for Europe. It's unclear whether she went willingly or was forced to do so. Showmen exhibited her throughout Europe, where in an embarrassing and dehumanizing spectacle, she was forced to sing and dance before crowds of white onlookers. So as I go along with our content, I'll bring up photos so you guys can kind of get an idea as I go along of what we're talking about. My allergies are sounding off, but we do have guests in the room. Sonia says, "Good morning. Good morning, Sonia." She says, "Did the other people get the membership?" I'm not sure. We'll check we'll check after the show. Happy Black History Month to you. All right. So let's get back into this article. Often naked in the exhibitions, Baartman was sometimes suspended in a cage or on stage while being poked, prodded, and groped. Her body was characterized as grotesque, lascivious, and obscene because of her protruding buttocks, which was due to a condition called steatopedia that occurs naturally among people in arid parts of southern Africa. She also had elongated labia, a physical feature derogatorily referred to as a hot knot apron. Both became symbolic markers of racial difference, and many other women from this part of Africa were trafficked to Europe for white entertainment because they diverged so drastically from dominant ideas of white feminine beauty. Baartman's features were exo- extasized. Her voluptuous and curvaceous body, mocked and shamed in the West, was also described in advertisements as the most correct and perfect specimen of her race. The Baartman ideal. Of course, Black women's bodies vary. There is no monolithic nor ideal type. Nonetheless, there is a strong legacy of the curvaceous ideal, more than more so than in other races. It persists to this day. In my interviews, Black women revealed how they felt about Baartman's story, how they compared her to their own body image, and what her legacy represents. One American participant, Ashley, seemed to recognize how entrenched the Baartman ideal has become. Baartman was the platform for stereotypes, she said. She sets the trend for Black women to have these figures, and now these stereotypes are carrying throughout pop culture. Miki, a South African woman, described being proud of her proportions and the way they're connected to Baartman, saying, "I'm proud of my body because of the resemblance I feel it has with hers." Exploitation or empowerment. Today, the Baartman body can be advantageous, especially on social media, where Black women have the opportunity to produce content that's socially and culturally relevant to them and their audiences, and where users can make money off their posts. On various platforms, women leverage their looks to obtain paid advertisements or receive free gifts, services, or merchandise from various beauty and apparel companies. They're also more likely to gain more followers and perhaps attract more wealthy suitors, depending on their ambitions. By hewing more closely to the contemporary Baartman ideal, so you could argue that Black women are taking control over their objectification and commo- commodification to earn money. They're also protesting the ideals of white mainstream beauty, seizing Baartman's exploitation and mockery, and recasting her as a source of pride and empowerment on places like Black Twitter, Instagram, and OnlyFans. On the other hand, it cannot be denied that Baartman's image is rooted in a legacy that is engulfed by slavery, unwilling full submission, and colonism. The white gaze that fetishized Baartman's body as exotic and overly sexual was the same one that promulgated the stereotype that black women were sexually promiscuous, less vicious, and hypersexual. While Baartman may not have been able to keep the cash people paid to ogle at her, black women today can strive for her body type and make money off of it. Once subjected to the mockery of an insidious white gaze, Baartman's physique is now profitable, as long as these women are comfortable with being objectified. But is selling this body type always a form of empowerment? Would someone who wasn't already exploited do it? This may explain why black women today are conflicted when they think about Baartman. Lasidi from South Africa highlighted this tension. If you do find girls like me who are not proud of what they see when they look in the mirror and they just feel like, I need to drop this off. She said, however, she added that you find other girls that are just so happy about it that they twerk. I guess Sarah Baartman definitely does have an influence, but it's either positive or negative whether you're proud to have a bum. Okay. And shout out to Sarah Baartman and what she did for our community. And she went through a trying time, and she you know to stay alive, she went with the flow of things, to the best of my ability of understanding, because I know that she didn't just willingly just go and say, hey, I want to be put in a cage, and people can poke at me or prob at me, and I'm a circus animal. But nowadays you have celebrities such as Amber Rose, Nicki Minaj, and other celebrities that are inspired and motivated. And some Caucasian women are as well. We could talk about the Kardashians. We could talk about, Black China. We could talk about, um, what's her name? Megan the Stallion. They are built and they have a frame of a certain statue, and it was frowned upon, or it was made as an insult. And so when you talk about body positivity, some women are just blessed with curves. Now let's go ahead and call this a wrap. We want to acknowledge Black History Month, and what a way to start the month off with acknowledging what's being glorified today. And that is Sarah Baartman's torture is now being glamorized as, you know, the hottest thing smoking. Well, thank you guys for watching. I'm your host, Queen Tulsa. This is the Queen Tulsa Show, and until next time, so long.